Welcome to Trading Lounge and the US indices for Friday, September the 24th. I just want to talk about the bullish weekly cycle for a moment, because if you remember that on the long side, we would be looking for Thursday being the bear day and then Friday and Monday being the bullish days. Okay, now the opposite would occur in a bear market. So we would see Thursday being the rally day rather than the bear day, and then Friday and Monday being the bearish days. Now, if we don't get that, that means we've got a change in trend. So if we see a bullish Friday closes strong, then obviously Monday is likely to follow through on that, isn't it? So what we're looking for is a turn in the next session to the downside. Now, in these cases here, we've been looking at this as down for wave 1, an A wave and a B wave and a C wave for wave 2 here. It has gone higher than the 61.8%, but I think we'll just stay with that for the time being here. It's not like it's a lot. And also here too, we've got a classic trading levels pattern where we have the arrival, the reaction, the first high above the level. There may be one more little high here, but I want to see how it comes down and sits on the 2250 here. So if it moves down later on the Friday and you get to see that this becomes the retested resistance here with the first low below the level as the reference point here, then we can look to short at that point. Obviously, if Friday closes strong, well, then we're going to be just going higher, and we would need to then look at this being bullish. But I don't want to go there just yet, which would make this wave 1 here and wave 2 over here for this. So I just want this to play out, and we also need this to play out in the indices as well. So for the NASDAQ here, there's a couple of things that I need to say is that I'm not convinced this is this particular wave 4 in play here yet, and the reason for that is because the length of wave 1 here that I keep harping on about is, compared to wave 3 is not long enough just yet. So that's one point. The second point is that if it's going to be this wave 4 here, then it needs to be much bigger than what it actually is now. So we're definitely not if it is this wave 4, we're not finished with that. So we need to understand that wave 3 can be higher, and this would be wave 4 of another length. So we could put wave 4 here, for example, and look at this as 1 and 2 here, and all of this is 3 and then 4 and then 5 in that instance. Okay, so there's a few things that we need to work with here, but we're in this wave 4 here, so we need to understand at what point that we'd rule this out. At what point would this become bullish in the move up here? So that's what we need to understand for the NASDAQ and the S&P, of course. So based on that, we can just go to the daily chart here, and it's not like we expect, if it's going to be Thursday, we expect that to be a rally. We were looking for a rally for the B wave to come into play here, and we still need our C wave to come down here. Has this, when we look at it like this, has this turned bullish at this point? Well, it could be and it couldn't be. So, it hasn't really developed a strong 5-wave move just yet. And also to just, let's just take the top here, roughly speaking, and this one here. And you can see that we're on according to this one here, we'll refine it a bit later, but we're right on that 61.8% mark. So kind of expecting that Thursday to be the rally, and then for Friday and Monday to be the bearish days. But I don't know that yet. That's just part of the guessing game in a point. So we need to know technically at what point we can move and groove. Obviously, this consolidation in here, this is going to be the resistance, and we're just tipping on that now. So that's where the supply is, the sellers. So that's where obviously the resistance is going to be. I think that the 15.5 would come in quite nicely there. Maybe, obviously the 5 is the second strongest number. Not so much the 15, but just the 500. But anyway, yada, yada, yada. So, yeah, let's just cruise in and have an understanding that, you know, because we got three waves here, it is possible for the market to move up there. And we need to understand that, and we also need to not get caught out and understand that, you know, the market can turn hitting supply levels even if it goes above the 61.8%, and seeing Friday, you know, once the squeeze happens in the morning the bit, then seeing how Friday performs. If you see it becoming weaker, then you'll know that we're on this track, but if you see it becoming stronger, then you'll know that we're, you know, still pushing higher at that point. So that Friday, the bullish weekly cycle can be quite helpful in that regard. It gives you a bit of a sentiment type of situation happening, you know. So, yeah, I mean, it doesn't look eccentrically bullish at this stage, does it? It's doing everything that we expected it to do. But now we need to see it, you know, sort of failing at this level, really. Obviously, we looked at the 15.5 where the supply is, but we know that it's touching into that supply block here at the moment. So one of the things we can look at is group 1, which is 1, 2, and 3 here. You know, it looks like it's developing support on that level. We want it to fail at that level, finding support. Also, too, with group 1 here, once the market's been trading above the 300 here, if it ever finds the 200, the number 2 here, as the resistance, then that's like, it's finished at that point, you know. So if it finds that as resistance, then you know that that's resistance. So if that's number 2 here, it's the setup to the downside, either that one or the one that's a bit more complicated and the most common, this classic trading levels pattern 1 here. So if that happens at the 2, then you know that the trend to the upside is finished at that point. Okay, but still that's a long way away, but that's just another thing that we can, you know, tick the box with, so to speak. Okay, we're going to cruise in here a little bit further. And we have been long in this market, and we were looking to get to 15.3 roughly. So it hit 15.3 and got sold off. So hopefully you've made a move on that. If you're still long, we'll have a look at where we can put stops. So that's under the 2 here for this one. So obviously we need to be short at that point, you know, wait for that to become the retested resistance. Now, obviously we can get closer to the market as well. So that's what we need to look at next. The structure up through here, let me just see if I can see it on. Yeah, it's been a tricky little thing. That sharp move there sort of threw it out a little bit. I wonder if that's... we're looking for 5 waves from B to C. I'm just see if I can... Sometimes you can see it on the larger time frames without going to the smaller one. You get a different kind of perspective on it. So I was just thinking 1 and 2 here, and then 1 and 2 here, and 3 and 4 here for the 3rd wave, and the 4th wave, and the 5th wave here. So I am looking at 2 counts here. Let's just go to the tick chart, which is here. So this is where we're at the moment. So in this rally, we've got our A wave and we've got our B wave here. That's a nice, good size. I mean, if it was a wave 2 here, for example, I would expect it to be smaller. Do you know? Not, I'd expect if that was wave 1, that's enough to be wave 2. Doesn't have to be that big, you know. So it's more like a B wave. It's, you know. So that's one thing that's sort of telling me here. I was counting up as 1 and 2 here, and then 1 and 2, and then 3 and 4 and 5 for the 3rd wave here, and the 4th wave, and then I was counting up for the 5th wave. So I've got the 5th wave there here for this, so that's where it should have ended at that point. So then I think to myself, well, obviously it's moved up higher and it's in the 61.8% mark here. How would you count it now then, Pete, you know? So I was thinking, Well, if I'm going to have wave 1, then there's a couple of ways I can do it. I've plonked that here as a wave 1 and a wave 2 here. That would leave wave 3 here. I don't want to put wave 4 and wave 5 here because this hasn't really finished off in 5 waves. It's kind of like there's another... I mean, this can be the A wave, the B wave, and the C wave to here. This doesn't look very impulsive at this point. I mean, that's impulsive, that's impulsive, that's impulsive. So it could be... I suppose you could get 5 waves up in that, but it would have to be 1 here, an A and a B and a C for 2 here, then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for the third wave, fourth wave, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for the top there. So it's possible to have the top in there, but I don't have a nice clear 5 waves down here. I have some of it. And we've got that nice support here as well. So, I mean, if I was a trader, then I would be looking to go long above here. That's what I would be doing. So I'm not too sure about this. So what I can say is that we have been long. We are looking to get out at 15.3. So that's okay. And if you're still long at the moment, then you want to put the stop just under the 15,250. You don't want to put it on the 50. So we'll drop it down to not 50, but 46 or 42 here for this stop. Okay. So that would be there at that point. And that's giving you the midpoint sort of protection there for that, you know. So if you're still long, then that's where the stop would need to be. It does look like it. I mean, it hasn't broken down just yet. So that's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking Friday could be, you know, we need it to break down on the Friday. If you're not long, you may as well be short. But at that same point here, we want to be. We know that we could do this under 2, but if we're going to go short a little bit higher up here, then you'll need this here as the retest. Now, it may go above the level and come back down and do all those sorts of things, but that's what you need to be looking out for. So one short trade under here, and then copy that and put the other one under the 2 here, and then you could do one at 1 as well. You could probably do one at 50 here as well. Look, you know, it just depends on how you go about building positions in and getting each position to break even. So all I can say here is I'm a little bit unsure how to count this. We have reached our 61.8% mark. I don't know if I can't see 5 waves down here just yet on this. And even if I did, I'd still be a bit concerned because I don't see it in, you know, I mean, I can force that to be 5 waves and we could put that top in there. But there also could be just one more as well here. So an A wave, a B wave, a C wave, and then one more, and then down again. So this one here, be very careful about it. Just make it maybe half a trade at this point, and then we can look to build on top of that a little bit later on. And if that gets triggered, then the stop just goes under this level here. And then we'll be looking at the 15.5 at that point, and we'll need to be more bullish at that point. So just to go back over this for this market, it would be done and dusted if 15,200 became the retested resistance. That's the main point here, okay? That's the big one. You can sneak in a little bit earlier there, and this would also be where you would, if you're still currently long, that's where you'd also put the stop under the first low below the level. That's a better way to do it, but I gave you some numbers, but that's the other way. Merging both of them together is good. Yeah, so that's what we're going to do. We're just going to see if Friday is bullish, well then we're going higher. It's as simple as that, you know. Let's have a look at the S&P. The same thing applies here as well. I'm not convinced we have got wave 3 in here because we're still too short on this. But I can take it on board that it will be short, but I still want to see a nice wave 4, and we don't have that just yet. Once again, we have 3 waves down here, so the market could go up from that point. So we just need to be ever ready on that. and on the daily chart here, everything's going according to plan. I've left the trend line in here because, you know, when something comes through, it goes back and tests it. So that's kind of what it's doing at the moment. You could probably sharpen that up a bit more. But yeah, anyway, that's that. So we need to understand this move. Really, it's just come back up and it's hit supply and it's been sold off, and it's also the end of the session as well, of course, so there'll be profit taking on that as well. So there's a lot to go on here. This consolidation is where the supply is. It's where the 61.8% is roughly. It's where we expect the B wave to be, so to speak. We've only got 3 waves up here. Can it turn into 5 waves? Yeah, sure, because this is only in 3 waves here. But we also need to understand too that it's a bit tricky once you get into wave 4s, and this is what I was saying when we get in here. It's a nightmare because we've got 3 waves here. I mean, we could go into some sort of triangle pattern, and if we go into a triangle pattern, what happens is that, well, the market goes above the 61.8%, you know, does all that kind of stuff. So there's a lot to be sort of going on here. So whatever we do, we need to be sure. Okay, so that's the thing. So as I mentioned, one of the first things that we need to work is understand that wave 3 here is too short. This is in 3 waves, so it can move up there. Because we're in a wave 4, it can move up higher past the 61.8% and be part of a triangle, double zigzag, or even an expanded flat. I mean, you know, it can also go above the level here and then come back down past the A wave as well, you know, and then go up. You know, that's an expanded flat. So there's a lot going on here, and we can just get little, you know, while we're in here, we've sort of got to be Jack be nimble, Jack be quick. You know, we need to just trade little snippets of things, and that's what we're doing, and we're getting away with it so far, but just need to keep pumping home that we're not, you know, it may be just a pull back and buying the dip, so to speak, you know, but we need to just continue to gather evidence and so on. So, okay, enough waffling. Said my piece. So we've got our 3 waves down here, so we can call that the A wave, and then we've been looking for the A wave, the B wave, and the C wave. Back into this consolidation area through here, the 50-60% retracement level. We got to figure out, do we have 5 waves in that C wave here yet for that? And will we roll over here? So to roll over here, we want to see Friday be weak. You know, it could open stronger, but we need to see it roll over at that point. That's what we're looking for. If it doesn't roll over and keeps pushing up, well, then we'll have to look bullish at that point, you know. So we just got to remain flexible. It's a matter of making money and not so much about being right or wrong. Sounds like I'm getting myself off the hook there a little bit, but it is true though. You know, because we don't know for sure. Well, then we don't know. You know, I mean, that C wave looks quite long and strong, doesn't it? It looks like a 3rd wave in a way, but we'd have to call that wave C top in play there. So because we don't want it going past 61.8%, so that would be it. You know, that would be the B wave at this point. Now, will we see Friday drift lower at this point? That's the question. And I suppose the other point too, if this is going to be 3 waves here, you know, if we can just imagine it for a moment, like wave 1 here, wave 2 here, and we're going up for wave 3, and it could push a bit higher. Well, then we're going to see, you know, we'll see wave 3, 4, and 5, and then we'll see, you know, an ABC pattern. And then if we're going up, well, then that's where we're going to catch it there, or we'll catch it over here. So we'll catch it on this pullback here. So chasing it in around this area here is also a problem as well. So just so that you understand that point, okay? Yeah. So let's just go to the tick chart. Okay, so this is our mess. So wave 3, an A wave, a B wave, and we've been tracking down here for the C wave. We're looking for the turn. We had an A wave, a little B wave. Everything's going according to plan, and this was our first resistance area, and that's where we took profit. So obviously, I made a mistake, but if you're still long at the moment, we can just look at where that should be, but that's all good at this stage. So what I'm doing here is from the low here, we've got wave 1 and 2 here, and then 1 and 2, and then 3 and 4 and 5 for the third wave, and A and a B and a C for the fourth wave. I'm looking at this as wave 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 here for the C of 5 and 5 of C of B here. So yeah, we'll just look at that as being the top, but any move above that is obviously going to be more bullish at that point. And normally there's some sort of correlation between equality between wave A and wave C, but we've got this extended out, so it certainly looks like a third wave here. I mean, we could say that this leg here is probably 61.8% of the length of wave C, which is okay as well. So let's just see how we go here with this. Looks like we could have 5 waves down. If we look at this as wave 1 and 2 here, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for the third wave, and then an A, B, C for the fourth, and then let's just call this the fifth wave with 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Did I get that right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, so that could be there. So that was possible, isn't it? As long as it's not a C wave part of that. No, that's okay. So we can take that top, take that, put that there. So really we don't want to see it above that. We want to see this. This looks like impulsive here. I'm not sure about all of that, but seeing a move to there and then moving down again, that would be good. That would put us a short trade under that. I'll just keep it simple at this point. So let's just see how that goes, shall we? The other point here too is that with the 4,400 here, then we've got group 1 above that. So if that 2 there, the 4,420, that becomes the retested resistance, you want to get a little position in there, and then you want to get one under here as well, and then you want to get one under group 2 there as well. But you have to make sure that each one is resistance at that point. So this one up here is really high risk at this point, but I think it's sort of okay as well. Now this particular trend here, I've got it as a wave C of B, but I know that it looks a bit like a third wave, and I know that it could just climb higher as well. So I know all of those. I'm expecting it to turn. Will it turn? I don't know. If it does turn, then the 44.20 as the resistance would be that would be a game changer at that point. And then also adding under the 4.4, adding under group 2, adding under the midpoint here, and then the same thing here again, 2 under here, and then under here again as well. But we can talk about all that a bit later. But yeah, that's it as far as I can see. So we're really left out on a bit of a lurch, really, to see if, if we do get further downside to come into play. Let's see if it works lower. That's all we can do, And if it does work higher, well then, if you see Friday being bullish, well then just be long, but also just be mindful of that 4,500 there. Just one more thing, I think, here, is that if we had to count this bullish here, we'd probably get away. It looks a little bit dodgy, but maybe I could look at all of this as the green wave 1 here and 2 here. And 3, 4, 5. So wave 1 would go here and wave 2 would go here. And that means that taking that would be wave 3, so that would be the 38.2% retracement level. So that's bouncing off 44.30. So yeah, so if it was going to be bullish, it could come down to here at the max and then bounce off at that point. So just be a bit mindful of that. So if you're going to run your stop, I mean, you could put your stop under here if you're still long, or you'll need to put it on the resistance of, you'll need the 4430 as the retested resistance to get out. That would be if you wanted to stay in the trend at that point. Obviously, we've mentioned to get out here, but obviously you may have built back in. I mean, there's a nice setup on this level here to get back in. So if you are in, it will either go under, if the 30 becomes the resistance, then you need to get out, or if you want to even drop it down to the next level, then under that one would be it, because that's where we'll definitely need to be short at that point. Okay, well, let's just see how it plays out. We do have our first 5 waves down by the looks of it. I think everything else is sort of okay at that point. Okay, let's see what occurs. Okay, thanks for tuning in. Cheers.